My name is Kiamesha Young, and this is Franklin Boulevard Media. I was born in Shelby, North Carolina, but I was raised in Kings Mountain. I had a very independent childhood. My mother had to work a lot, so she taught me how to be really independent in case, something ever happened. We could, survival skills were on point. Like, she's really good at teaching. She even does that with my nephew, so she just thinks that's very important. I was in middle school. I had to be maybe sixth grade. I would write down phone numbers to signs that I saw of houses that were for sale. And then I would call when I got off the bus to see how much they were. And it's crazy because I'm like, to think about it now, I'm like, why didn't they say, you're a kid, get off my phone? You know what I'm saying? So, but they would tell me the price. I remember the two houses I did that with to this day, because I knew I wanted my mother to own a home, because we lived in an apartment at the time. And then, we were going from house to house. So, she was doing, the best. My mother has crazy work ethic, so she was doing the best she can raising two kids, raising two kids. And, I would literally write down the numbers and call and ask how many bedrooms, how many baths, and how much it was. I remember one house being $48,000. And I just thought that was so much back in the day. Like, that was so expensive. But yeah, I was doing that in middle school. High school was Kings Mountain High School. And I worked all throughout high school. I cheered, but I got my work permit at the age of 14, and I just worked. I've always worked. I've always, been independent. I used to drive my mother to school. To work. I did not have a driver's license. I would drive. I was just all over the place. She really taught us to be independent. So, I hope we can't get in trouble for that now. But I used to definitely, I used to park in the senior parking lot in ninth grade. I would drive to school. Now, I think back, I'm like, God, we really lived in small towns where nobody said anything. I was very shy, so I didn't like basketball because it was too up close and personal. But I did cheer basketball one year, but football was my thing. I definitely enjoyed cheering football. I knew I wanted to. My mom, she didn't push college on me, but my aunt did. She wanted to make sure. she helped me fill out my, FAFSA, to get my financial aid and all that good stuff, and I ended up getting accepted into A&T, and that's where I went for the first 2 years. I went to UNC Charlotte and majored in mathematics, and it was. I was there another 2 years. I enjoyed it. You go to class, go home. So I graduated from UNC Charlotte with a mathematics degree. I became a teacher. I enjoyed teaching. I love kids. I taught 6 years in CMS, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools. My classroom was always the second office, if that makes sense. So I was that teacher who the kids got in trouble. They went to the principal's office. The principal would send them to my classroom because, I don't play that. Like, I thoroughly believe that kids should be disciplined, So I did enjoy it, but I saw an opportunity, and I did not like the bounds of the classroom, if that makes sense. So I wanted to come out of the classroom, and I started another company that worked with children, and that was Leaders of Tomorrow. It was an after-school program. 10 years. I recently just stopped. So you were able to explore more. You take them on field trips, allow them to see different, how do I want to say that? You're allowed to see a little bit more than you can within the classroom. At one point, back in the day, we used to have field trips all the time. And for some reason, that got cut out. So I'm not sure if it was funding or what, but yeah, I was able to allow them to explore a little more within the city. I wanted to be paid for my efforts, if that makes sense. So sales allowed me to do that, and that's where real estate came from. I bought my first house at the age of 23, and I saw her. And Amy's gonna kill me, but and she probably doesn't know this to this day because I actually still have a relationship with this lady. She's like one of my mentors. But Amy Steele sold me my home, and I remember her check amount, and it blew me away because she got a. I feel like it was five figures. It was, and I'm like, oh, okay, then that's where I need to be, considering, I've been, trying to practice since middle school, but yeah, I mean, it blew me away that someone could make that kind of money with very little effort. Whew, my grandfather. Yeah, I was so excited about my house that I had purchased, and I had a housewarming and everybody came over and I was showing the house around, and my grandfather, we were in the garage. I remember this. It was yesterday. We were in the garage and he says, I said, Papa, you like my house? And he said, yeah, it's nice. And, you can feel the energy shift a little bit. Like, no, you're not really happy. He's like, yeah, it's nice, but why is it so much? Like, why do you buy such a big house? And I'm like, I didn't get why he just wasn't happy. I'm not gonna say he pretended to be happy, but he was happy that I bought a house, but he was not happy that I had purchased such a large house. And I didn't get it at first. He talked to me about what if something happens? What if you lose your job? What if the economy goes down? I'd be darned. Whew, that gas crisis hit. And yeah, at that point, I totally understood why he did not want me to have so much house, because the house was like over 2,000 square feet. It was brand new, it was 2-car garage. It was the works, and just for me myself, just to be by myself, I didn't need that. Right now I live in a 1,200 square foot condo, and it's just me, and it's enough. So, and he has always lived that way, and that's what I think that's what allowed him to be very comfortable late in life. I never watched my grandpa stress. It was like, do you have unlimited funds? Because I never see you stress. But his house that they lived in, it may not have been the quote unquote biggest, prettiest, or whatnot, but it was a home, and it was paid for. So and to this day, I totally get it, because like I said, that gas crisis hit, and I found myself literally turning off my heat, because I had gas heat, and being in one space just so that I wouldn't have a $400 or $500 heat bill, gas bill. So because as a teacher, you don't. I mean, I made decent money. It was me. I lived pretty good on a teacher's salary, but who wants to pay a $500 gas bill? Nobody. So, especially for one person. So yeah, I definitely learned a valuable lesson, and every house I've bought since then has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. So, and that's what I practice. I preach that to my clients to this day. Well, I went to Allen Tate Real Estate School. I think it no longer exists. I went nights and weekends, and yeah, it was cool. I mean, luckily, I did pass the exam the first time. My broker's exam, I did not pass the first time. Because back in the day, you could go straight from being a salesperson to a broker instantly. And the class portion, but you didn't have to take another exam. You just had to take the class exam. And yeah, I didn't pass that on my first time. So, but I've never seen anybody quit, in my family anyway. I just haven't. I've never witnessed that between my mom, my grandma, my grandpa, my aunts. I just don't. I mean, the work ethic is super strong in our family. I went right back, the next class, and passed it. Yeah, I just wanted my broker's license, because I wanted to own my own company. And now looking back, another probably nugget here. Looking back, I probably shouldn't have. I should have practiced as a salesman first, and then got my broker's license to learn the game. I mean, I think a lot of people do that now, and I've done it myself before. Like, you just are so excited to start your own business, that you skip the process, and I just should have become a salesman for a while. So brokers can own their own companies and hire other realtors. So yeah, I had my own real estate company in 2005, 2006. Yeah, so I skipped working for someone. So what I did, I then stopped because the market crashed, and I went to work for Wilkinson and Associates. But and it was a company. It was a 100% company. I refused because I knew that I wanted to work for a company that allowed me to do me, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was the perfect company to work for because it was a 100% company. You got no training, no resources, no nothing. But in exchange for that, the compensation, you had to train yourself, and I was cool with that. So I flew all over the country, learning from different realtors. Yeah, and it worked out. Like, you can't skip the process. You really can't. So then I opened up my company again because I shut that one down, the first one, and I opened up my company 12 years later. And now I have 6 realtors under me. I wanted, honestly, to teach hustle because that's all it is. It's regardless of what industry or what you pursue, as an entrepreneur, it's all about hustle. And when I say hustle, I think that's not just working hard, it's working smart. It's not, just beating yourself down daily, working to the wee hours in the morning. It's, studying, and trying to figure out how to do things in an efficient way. So let's go back to why I even got became a general contractor. So again, selling real estate. And I'm not sure if you've noticed how the market changed. Maybe about 2 years ago when the pandemic hit, they lowered the rates and everybody went crazy. And my client is a first-time home buyer that purchases in the 200 and under range. So with the pandemic and the 1%, 2%, well, not 1%, but 2% interest rates, people are outbidding each other, raising the prices, and I'm pretty much out of a job. I have like 20 clients at this point that cannot buy houses because you keep getting outbid and it's just out of your price range. So I decided, since that we were in a pandemic, that I would study to get my GC license and just build their houses, because there was no way. I knew that these houses that they were selling for $450, it costs under $200 to build them. So I decided to become a GC and build. And so I've been prepping for the last year and a half to launch my new company, Young Construction, and so that I can build affordable housing. And most businesses are formed from needs. So how did the Workbar happen? So basically, I found the office space. It was a great location, and I wanted to start a real estate company closer to home, to where most of my clients were. Again, I lived in Charlotte, but most of my clients were Gaston and Cleveland County. So I got into the space, and I don't care, or I don't mind dropping back and punting, if that makes sense, because I realized, okay, Kiamesha, you're starting a new venture. You need to grow into this space. And I do remember when I was looking for a space to rent in Gaston County, there were no co-working spaces. So as I'm walking through, I let my gut lead me a lot of times. As I'm walking through the building, I'm like, I just saw another vision for it, and I still operate my real estate company within the office. So it was a win-win. I can operate my real estate company in the office. I saw a lot of entrepreneurs down here in Gaston County that I thought might need the space. And it just worked out, It was a win-win for me to create a smaller portion of the space for my real estate office and allow others to utilize and help me pay for the bills, pretty much. The name of the co-working space is Y3 Workbar, and it's located at 365 North New Hope Road, Gastonia, North Carolina, 28054, right in front of the mall, right in front of Eastridge Mall. We have three offices that are for the co-workers, but total there are 9 other offices that, again, I am growing into for my real estate company and my construction company. Recently, we just today actually, Jeremy was helping me create a media center, or not media center, but a print center, so that for the construction, it's hard sending your stuff out to Office Depot all the time. So, just a space for us to make booklets, print our floor plans, and, all that good stuff. I'm still figuring out Gaston County, honestly. I'm still figuring it out. I don't know how to say what I'm figuring it out with when it comes to Gaston County, but I do know there's a lot of great entrepreneurs here, but I can't figure out why there's no community of entrepreneurs, if that makes sense. I would love to see in Gaston County more of the businesses come together and pool their resources together. Like, my Workbar has always been open to anyone who needed to use it. I keep my prices low so that new entrepreneurs can use it. But I would love to see us, just pool our resources together. What you got going over here? What can I help with? How can we help each other? A little bit more networking. Any entrepreneur anyone that's looking to become an entrepreneur, know that there's no easy way. I don't know at what point entrepreneurship became this glamorous lifestyle, because it's not whatsoever. It's plenty of hard days, long nights. There's some freedom in it, and you eventually get there, but in the beginning, it's hard. I mean, this shit hard, and you know how I am. But it's not what social media pretends it is. It's a lot of effort and a lot of studying. But anything, I would recommend you do something that you truly won't give up on when it gets hard. Because if you're looking at somebody else's journey and it gets hard, you're more than likely going to give up. But when you enjoy and when you are called to do something, that passion or that calling will keep you going. Yeah. I think we have to start showing the tough times and not the good times, because people got this. They got it mixed up, and it's not. But there's been plenty of times where I have literally been in my closet crying. When you're responsible for someone else's livelihood, that's not an easy task a lot of times. It's like you put so much stress on yourself to make sure that you create a life for others, and it's just not easy. It's not easy.
Slogan y'all say at,
There's definitely a slogan that we say.
What is, I know you're going to say that.
Oh, I'm going to say that slogan. Get shit done. I went to, what is his name? There's a book called Get Things Done that when I became, when I decided to be an entrepreneur, that I was reading a lot of books, and Get Things Done helped me, David Allen, yes, allowed me to help me organize myself as a business owner. And, it just wasn't hitting right, like we getting things done today, but that just didn't hit right. So, you had to put a little stank on it. And, sometimes I'm not good in front of the camera. You know what? That's what I would say too. If I had to give some advice to someone, do what you're comfortable with. Like, I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, and not that I can't do it, not that I can't force myself to do it, but it's not my strength. I'll do it, but my strength is the back end of things, you know, the getting things done, the engineering of something. So, know that. And if you're not that person, you don't have to be. Like, some people want to be in the front. Have at it. And that's normally how it goes. Is the person that is making all the decisions is normally not on the front end. I mean, if you think about artists, you know, they're the entertainer a lot of times. I mean, not to take anything away from them, but the decision makers a lot of times are on the back end. You don't see them. Yeah, so it's I mean, it takes both, though. It takes both. You cannot have one without the other.